record. So I'm trying to record now. Okay, now it's recording so that I can post the recordings to you and you'll be able to watch it at your leisure. Just as I said last week, for those who were in class, there are a few housekeeping rules. First, rename yourself when you join this class. Rename your cell phone or your device or your computer so that if perchance you want to ask a question, I can call you by name, all right? Also very important, make sure to dress properly if you must put on your video. Even if you're not putting on your video, make sure you are properly dressed because your video might just escape. You don't want to show yourself the way you are to the world. The internet does not forget, and it's also respectful to other people on the platform not to see you scantily clad or almost nude. Please take note of that. I also need to say this. Facilitation is one of the steps through which you can pass this course without stress. So when you receive notice of what to prepare ahead of class, make sure you read so that when we come to class, see, what we do in class is not teaching. That's why it's called facilitation. Facilitation builds on what you've read. So if you've not read anything, you're doing some kind of disservice to yourself. So, but if you've read, you would better understand what is being discussed in class and be able to ask questions. If you're able to do that and be in class, the rest assured that you're going to pass without having to go and pay some quacks for tutorials. So, okay, so enough of that. I want to begin the class proper. It's 3:06. So I'll begin by sharing my screen. All right, can you see my screen? Give me a thumbs up, a thumb up if you can see my screen. Can you see the screen? All right. Okay, thank you. You can see. Great, thanks. Apologies, some persons were unable to join the class last week because it was filled to its capacity. Last week, I was using Zoom license of 500 and we were full. Today, I have license for 1,000. And so if we have 1,000 persons wanting to join, we would be able to join. They will be able to join. Even if we have more from next week, we would increase the license, okay? So the more the merrier. So we have capacity to admit every student, no matter what, but we do it gradually from 300 to 500 to 1,000 capacity. So today, if we're able to reach 1,000, next week we will have a higher version or other means of joining the class. Okay, just to let you know. So just as you know, the course is History and Philosophy of Science, and it's a general studies course. That's why it's called GST 105. So last week we started a discussion of module 1. Okay, we did the first two units in module 1. Today we'll be looking at the last 3 units of module 1. The last 3 units. So from unit 3, we will look at the basic scientific theories. Unit 4 will look at laws of nature. Unit 5 will look at history of Western science. 1. Okay, we will have successive discussion of history of Western science. So today we'll be looking at the ancient origin of science, all right? So since you got the mails, your Moodle message, your e-learn, you're already also familiar with what we'll be discussing. So when we talk about scientific theory, what do we mean? What does scientific theory mean? Scientific theory, simply put, it gives us an explanation about the cause or causes of a wide range of phenomena that are related or that they are connected. That is what we refer to as scientific theory. Scientific theory gives us an explanation or is an explanation regarding the cause or the causes of a wide or a broad range of phenomena which are related. When we talk about a theory, what a theory does is to explain how things are related or their common properties. A theory helps us to explain the way things are related or the properties or characteristics or attributes that they share in common. Okay? Now, when we talk about scientific research, so with the use of scientific methods, it leads to the accumulation of facts about nature. Remember last week we discussed scientific methods. We examined the various steps in scientific method. In this particular bullet, we are explaining scientific research. And we're saying that with the use, when scientific research makes use of scientific methods, it leads to the accumulation of facts about nature. So theories start as hypotheses. So you may want to ask, how do theories start? They begin with a hypothesis. Hypothesis last week, we discussed, we discussed what hypotheses are. They are some kind of smart guesses, after which we try to find out what they are through experimentation. So theories start as hypotheses, also known as tentative formulations. So hypotheses are not ends in themselves, but rather a means to an end, okay, which always end with conclusion or formulation of theory as the case may be. So theories start as hypotheses, also known as tentative formulations, which are meant to explain the phenomena under investigation. So when a hypothesis is confirmed through experimentation, it becomes a theory. This still relates to what we had discussed last week under scientific method. That when you make a hypothesis, you don't stop there. You go ahead to experiment. And so after some time, you reach a conclusion and you formulate a theory. So that's what it's meant by when a hypothesis is confirmed through experimentation, it becomes a theory. So there are various forms in which theories take. It may be as bar diagrams, as equation, statistical, and propositional formulation. So various ways theories take. Theories come in various ways. Theories take various forms, which could be as diagrams, as equation, statistical, and propositional formulations. So the diagram or the arrow is trying to explain all that we've been saying in words since. You have hypotheses. From hypotheses, we go to experimentation. From experimentation, we get to theory. If you followed our discussion of scientific method last week, you will see that it's nothing new from all that we have been discussing so far. So theories that have proven to be valid universally and have a high degree of probability are called natural laws. So you might want to ask, how do we come about natural law? Natural laws are offshoots of certain theories that have been proven to be valid universally. That's almost worldwide. It has a universal acclaim, and they have a high degree of probability. They are called natural laws. So what do theories do? Theories enable us, it helps us to explain, to predict, and to control phenomena. That's what theories help us to do. And it's good you take note of these three ideas. What do theories do? They help us to explain, predict, and control phenomena. Now, what are the various kinds of scientific theory? That's what we have on the screen. Theory of universal gravitation, theory of evolution by natural selection, atomic theory, genetic theory, relativity theory, and quantum theory. Types of scientific theory. Those are some of them on the screen. If you can't hear, the fault is not from the lecturer, but rather something that has to do with your audio. So you could ask somebody to check for you what you've done, or you log out and log in, and when you are logging in, pay attention. When he asks you to join with audio, make sure you click with join with audio, because people can hear. All right? And if you're raising up your hand now, make sure to lower your hand, because this is not the time to raise your hands. All right? When it's time for question, for comment, and the likes, you would be able to do that. Okay. So we move to the next one. In your text, you would have come across somebody called Darwin. Ajao Olukunle, is it that you don't hear? Precursors of Darwin. Who are those people who came before Darwin? Darwin is, the full name of Darwin, just as you probably know, is Charles Darwin, known for his evolution theory. So who were some scientists who came before him? The first is on the screen, who was a biologist, George Louis Comte de Buffon. That's the first person as a precursor of Darwin. That's somebody, his predecessor, somebody who came before him. Another precursor is the geologist called James Hutton, also came before Darwin. Then Jean-Baptiste de Lamarck is another precursor of Darwin. Now, Charles Darwin's theory of evolution, which is what Darwin is mostly known for. Okay. What is this theory of evolution? Some of you may have come across this maybe in your biology class, or maybe even in Christian religious studies class. The reason I said Christian religious studies is because maybe they may have discussed other theories of evolution different from that which we have in the religious books, okay? In the religious books, we know what it says about how we emerge, and the evolutionary theory says that we come from apes. Our ancestors were apes and monkeys and the likes, okay? So some of you might be aware of who Darwin is. But let's see, Darwin's, one of his greatest contribution, or even his greatest contribution, was the laying of the foundation of an evolutionary theory. He laid the foundation. So, and how did he do this? He did this through empirical means of observation. And through observation, he was able to identify species that normally change over time and the environment is, and he also was able to identify that the environment is one of the factors that brings about the change. So he made use of observation. From his observation, he was able to find out or to identify species that change over a period of time. And he was also able to notice that the environment is very instrumental to what brings about the change in particular species. So at the heart of the theory of evolution is the concept of natural selection. So natural selection being the mechanism, the means, or the ways that result in evolution. So at the heart of the theory of evolution of Darwin is the concept or the idea of natural selection. That is, natural selection being the mechanism, being the means, being the way that results in evolution. So his theory of evolution unifies the themes of the biological sciences. His theory of evolution unifies the theme of biological sciences. So it provides an explanation for three main sets of facts about life on Earth. That's his theory of evolution. What did his theory of evolution do? What he did was that he brought about a unification of the themes found in the biological sciences. Aside doing that, it gives us an explanation for three main sets of facts about life on Earth. So aside bringing about a unification of themes or ideas in the biological sciences, Darwin's theory of evolution also explains three main sets of facts about life on Earth. So what are those sets of facts? The first is the incredible display of different types of living things we see about us. That's one fact that it tells us, or that it explains to us. The different degrees of likeness among the living things, the likeness which could either be anatomical in terms of their anatomy or molecular. Then the fossil record that shows a sequence in the kinds of organisms that have lived on Earth over billions of years. These are three facts that the theory of evolution of Darwin tells us about the facts of life that we live on Earth. When we talk about laws of nature, what do we mean by that? The reason why we call them laws of nature or natural law sometimes is that they are derived from natural properties or natural characteristics of objects and phenomena. Natural laws, the reason why they are so called is because they are a derivation from the natural properties of objects and phenomena. It is the uniformities, consistencies, regularities which exist among natural phenomena. Natural laws also imply the kind of uniform nature, the kind of resemblance, the kind of look-alike, if you like, which exists or which we observe among natural phenomena. Laws of nature have to do with certain ideas. Three ideas. What are those three ideas? Three ideas that the law of nature or laws of nature have to do with. The first is those uniformities we can observe in nature. Uniformities observed in nature. That is, in nature, we can observe things that are the same by uniform, the same. You understand now, uniform, like when you wear ashobi or you wear uniform in secondary school. So they are the same. So these uniformities found in nature, that is uniformities in behavior, in function, in relations and properties of things. But discussing laws of nature, the three ways they have, okay? Laws of nature, they have three ideas. That's the first. The second, established connection of successive events which make up the order of universe. Connection that has been established of events that follow one another, and these events, they make up how the universe operates. That's what we mean by two. In one, we're talking about those lookalikes, those uniformities that we can observe. And these uniformities pertain to the behavior of things, the function, the relation, and properties or characteristics that they have. In two, we're talking about relations that are already, or connections that are already established of events that follow one another, like rainy season follow harmattan and the likes, okay? Or like after a lightning, you can expect rain and probably thunder, okay? Established connection of successive events which make up the order of the universe. The third pertains to established theories through scientific research. Earlier, we talked about scientific research as emanating from scientific method. So in our scientific method, which we looked at the various steps last week, we saw that after all of the steps, we get to hypothesis, we get to experimentation, we get to conclusion, then we get to formulation of theories. So establish theories through scientific research. Now, examples of laws of nature. What are some examples? What are some things referred to as laws of nature? What are some of the examples which we might have? Law of uniformity is an example. Law of causation is another example. Law of gravitation is another example. And law of natural selection is another example. Okay, so these are 4 laws we've brought to class. I think you have more than these 4 laws in your course material. But just as I said, this class is facilitation. I'm supposed to facilitate your learning. What that means is that you have an idea of what is going to be said because you've read ahead of class. So I'm supposed to come to class, speak to ideas, and have you interact. That's why we have almost 30 minutes of question and answer and comments. Okay. So out of these laws, I'm going to explain 2, the ones highlighted. That's law of uniformity and law of gravitation. So when we talk about law of uniformity of nature, what do we mean by that? It claims that nature is a system composed of many parts. Nature, okay, you have only 4 in the course material. Fantastic, great. Thank you, Majid Basit. Okay, so you have only, so law of uniformity claims that nature is a system composed of many parts. Nature has many parts, a system that has many parts, several parts. So within this system, okay, that has many parts, everything happens according to a rule. A rule directs them. That's what we're talking about, laws of uniformity of nature. So the law assumes that the universe does not change. So the assumption behind the law is that the universe doesn't change. And therefore, the laws of uniformity of nature governing its behavior remains constant. So because the laws of universe doesn't change, the law of uniformity of nature that is at the helm of affairs or that is regulating behavior, it remains constant. I don't know if you're following this explanation. Law of uniformity of nature. What it claims is that nature is a system. When you talk about nature, consider it as a system that has several parts, all right? I'm looking for something I could use to explain it. A system that has many parts. Let's use our own body as individuals. We have a body, and there are several parts of it. We have a hand, we have eyes, we have nose, we have legs, we have back, we have front, system that composed many parts. So within this part, everything happens according to rule. That's what he's talking about nature. So the law, the assumption behind it is that the universe, it doesn't change. The universe doesn't change. Therefore, the laws of uniformity of nature that governs its behavior remains constant. All right? That's law of uniformity of nature. When we talk about law of gravity, first, what is gravitation? Is that force which pulls every object in the universe towards every other object in the universe. Suppose you are holding a magnet. Okay, some of you must have played with magnets as children, right? Or maybe also even in the course of maybe practical magnet. When you use a magnet close to maybe close to your phone, for example, you see how it attracts. So think of magnets as a form of illustration of what we're talking about in terms of the law of gravity. So gravitation is that force that pulls every object in the universe towards every object in the universe. Gravitation. You gravitate towards each other. I'm trying to hurry up so that we can have ample time for discussion. So it is the force that makes a body fall through space towards Earth. Okay? It's a force. Gravitation is what makes this possible. The dropping of this viral, it's gravitation that makes it possible. It's the force that makes a body fall through space towards Earth. We have this saying that whatever goes up comes down, or something like that. I know in Nigeria we can disprove it. But what's in relation to law of gravity, we're talking about a force that makes a body or makes an object to fall through space towards Earth. Law of gravitation. So this was preceded by Newton's law of universal gravitation. Isaac Newton had said something similar in his universal law of gravitation. Now, when we talk about origin of science, how did science come about? Remember, the title of this course is History and Philosophy of Science. That's the title of the course, History and Philosophy of Science. So we're going to see different origins of science from different epochs. In philosophy, we talk about 4 major epochs. We talk about the ancient, which is what we're going to see in this class. To begin with ancient, we talk about medieval, which is also called Middle Ages, which we're going to discuss in this class. It may not be today in the course of our facilitation. We also talk about modern period, which we're going to also discuss, and we talk about contemporary period. So we begin with the ancient period of history, of origin of science, how science originated, how science came about. So the origin of science, it is often traced to the Egyptians and the Babylonians. So how science came about, from its ancient origin, we trace it to Egypt, or to Egyptians and to the Babylonians. So science as a field itself broke away from philosophy. Some of you might be surprised at this. Science broke away from philosophy. Philosophy, all disciplines that we have now used to be philosophy. It was at some point in time that we have Renaissance, precisely, that we have fragmentation of disciplines, and we have all of these other disciplines we have. So at the time, we have everything being philosophy. That's why you will find many of the scientists that we know now, they were once philosophers. Okay, so science as a field itself broke away from philosophy. And that's why philosophy is usually referred to as the mother of all disciplines. Metaphysics being the queen of sciences, okay? And that's why we have the highest degree, academic degree, being Doctor of Philosophy. If you've ever asked yourself why PhD refers to Doctor of Philosophy, it's because every other discipline broke away from philosophy, excuse me. Okay. So I want to quickly ask you a question, which I want your answer in the chat box. Can you tell me some of the philosophers in this ancient period? All right. This particular discussion we're having, what are some philosophers found there? For those of you who studied your course material, this is not a time to look at our, okay? Okay. No, in the ancient period, not Darwin. Darwin was not in the ancient period. Charles Darwin was not in the ancient period. No, Piaget, never. There are some more fundamental. Yes, Pythagoras, Socrates, yes. Who is Agbakoba? Lai. You're not giving me other ones. Not really Plato. Democritus, yes. There are other ones you're not giving me. Some very key ones that even came first before Socrates. There are key ones before. No, more. More is contemporary. No, Plutarch. Heraclitus, yeah. There are some preceding Socrates. No, never Isaac Newton. Ptolemy, no. Ptolemy is in the modern period. No, now I can see you did not study your course material. Epicurus, Pythagoras, yes. But there are some before Pythagoras. Archimedes, no. Plato now. Lysippus and Democritus. There are some before Lysippus and Democritus, before Heraclitus. Einstein is modern. Homer is even not philosopher. But there are people in the era of Homer I want you to mention. No. Thales of Miletus, yes. God bless that person. Thales of Miletus, Anaximander Great, Ibukun Akinola, yes. Yes, somebody have said Socrates several times. There is a third person I want you to mention. They've said Thales, they've said Anaximander. There's Anaximenes, wonderful. Those are the three people I am looking for. Thales, Anaximander, and Anaximenes. All right. So we continue. So science as a field, okay, we've said that Egypt is credited with the origin of astronomy, mathematics. And Egyptians were reputed to be highly skilled in medicine. Hippocrates, who is usually, I don't know whether he's called father of medicine now, but whose oath medical doctors swear to at induction. Maybe it's not just medical doctor, maybe there are other medical practitioners who swear to their oath, was an Egyptian. So the first physician of the ancient world and the most famous was a Black Egyptian called Imhotep. So you should note that the first physician in the ancient world and most famous among Black Egyptians is referred to as Imhotep. Now, he was called the god of medicine. Imhotep was called the god of medicine. And Africa, philosophy, African origin of Greek philosophy. Okay, so there is this idea. Many times we talk about Western philosophy, especially in philosophy. The kind of philosophy we mostly discuss is Western philosophy. But the history of philosophy itself has been traced to Africa, to Egypt. That before the West came to the scene and they popularized their philosophy and we all embrace it. Some of us don't even know. And some of us even disbelieve the idea that philosophy originated from Africa, okay? But that's just an aside. So African origin of Greek philosophy, that there was a time that Greeks had come to Africa even before the West began to talk about philosophy. Philosophy was already thriving in Africa before Western philosophy actually began. All right. So we go on. We go on. I'm not reading your chat again. We've moved on. Thank you all for your contribution. So it's good to interact a little. So to the pre-Socratics. So those people I wrote for you, Thales, Anaximander, and Anaximenes, they are referred to as pre-Socratic philosophers. Pre-Socratic, Thales, Anaximander, and Anaximenes. They are called pre-Socratic philosophers. And why are they called pre-Socratic philosophers? Because they preceded Socrates. They came before Socrates. All right? They preceded Socrates. You can see that Socrates is used as a defining figure in the history of Western philosophy. Socrates is referred to as the father of Western philosophy. So Thales and Anaximander and Anaximenes, they came before Socrates. That's why they call them pre-Socratic philosopher, before the Socratic period. So who is Thales of Miletus? Miletus is where he came from. And so that's why he's referred to as the founder of Milesian school of natural philosophy. Thales founded the Milesian school of natural philosophy. From Miletus. So to him, the basic source of the universe is water. Water was the source of all things in the universe. And Thales was also credited to have made a forecast of the eclipse that took place in 585 BC. And that's why he's regarded as a scientist. So for some of us, modern women and men, we might begin to think, maybe snuff our nose at some of the postulations of these philosophers, because we are viewing their postulations with the 21st century mind and eye. But at the time, it was a very significant contribution, especially what Thales said, that water was the source of all things in the universe. You can't blame him. Maybe Miletus was said to have been like a riverine area. For those, some of you came from riverine area. It's usually water. You use boats, canoe, and the likes to make transportation, and maybe also observing how important water is to our survival as humans. Thales made us to understand that water was the source of all things in the universe. And beyond that, being credited with having made a forecast of the eclipse that happened in 585 BC. So the next person is Anaximander. Anaximander initiated the critical tradition in philosophy. Philosophy deals a lot with criticism. Okay, so Anaximander is credited to have initiated the critical tradition by disagreeing with Thales. So instead of following Thales sheepishly to say it is also water, he disagreed with him and said it is the word stuff, or the infinite something that the world is made of. Okay, that it is something called stuff. So he was also the first, that's Anaximander. He was the first among the Greeks to represent the earth on a map. So he drew the earth on a map. That's long before though the science of map making, cartography was known in Egypt and Babylonia. That's part of the reason why in some quarters it is said that philosophy originated in Africa and not in the West. Okay, so we're mentioning some of their contributions that make them to have the tag of early scientists. Then our time is fast spent. Then we also have Pythagoras. Some of you in your mathematics, you did Pythagoras theorem. Pythagoras was a philosopher. Pythagoras theorem. Pythagoras was a philosopher who was also quite popular, not just for his mathematical theory that outlived him, that many of us were aware of, especially lovers of mathematics. He was also popular for his theory of transmigration of souls. Okay, I'm not sure that is in your course material. Transmigration of souls. Okay, I don't want to go beyond what's in your course material. Transmigration of souls, but Pythagoras is also known for that, but mainly as a scientist for his Pythagorean theory. Now, Heraclitus, known as the philosopher of change, He was the one who said that we cannot step into the same water twice because it is always flowing. So imagine you are at the bank of a river, you put your leg first and you put the second one. Pythagoras tells you that it is not the same water that you put your leg the first time, that you put it the second time, because that one had flown away. Okay, so that's why Pythagoras is usually referred to as a philosopher of change. Then Democritus and Leucippus, they were credited with their theory of the atomic theory of atoms. Many more details on this can be found in your course material. And so the Socratic period now, preceded by Socrates himself, you have Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle with their different ideas. So, summary of what we've done today in this class. We discussed what scientific theory is, the definition and types, Darwin's evolution theory, emphasizing the law of natural selection, laws of nature, definition, examples, origin of science, from philosophy, Egyptian origin, Babylonian, the pre-Socratic and Socratic era. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this class. It's time for question and answer. So I'm going to enable you. No, I'm going to ask you to unmute. I'm going to enable you to be able to chat with everyone and anyone directly. Okay. Then, yeah. So I'll stop sharing. I can see lots of hands up. Just as I said last week, this class usually takes us like 10 weeks, more than 8 weeks. And the first week of this class, we didn't have any class. So I would like to suggest that we're going to have makeup classes. When it will be, I don't know. But when I announce it, please, not everybody will be able to make it because you probably would have classes in other places. But I will teach the class at that time. And if you're not able to make it, no wahala. But I'm going to post the link to the recording to you so that you can access at your convenience. All right? So that's that. Just as I said, I'm only going to call those who have their phones named, properly named. So I'll try as much as possible to call one woman, one man, one woman, one man, till our time is gone. So I'm going to begin. If you just joined the class, maybe you came so late, you didn't meet any, please don't drag us back. Watch the video at your convenience, all right? Don't begin to say you missed the class, you came 5 minutes to the class and the likes. No. All right? Okay, so some people don't have the link to the WhatsApp group. Any of the admins or anybody, please post it on the platform. So I'm going to begin with Josu Tofunmi Adepo. I'm asking you to unmute. So when you finish talking, when you finish speaking, lower your hand and mute yourself. So Adetomi, Josu Tofunmi Adepo, can you go on with your question?
Good evening. Good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon.
Ma, my question is just like, can you please make just a simple explanation on the theory of transmigration of soul? Just a brief explanation.
Is theory of transmigration of soul in your course material?
No, ma. I just want to understand.
So if it's not in your course material, don't worry yourself about it.
Okay, ma.
But if you're so curious, you could just Google it. I don't want to bug you with whatever is not in your course material. That was just an aside, all right?
Okay.
What you should be more concerned with about Pythagoras is his Pythagoras theory. And as a scientist, one of the earliest scientists in the world. All right?
Thank you.
Disregard that. It doesn't concern you.
Thank
All
you,
right.
ma.
Thank you. Please mute yourself. So I'll call Daniel Ogoro. Unmute yourself and speak.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, okay. I just want to ask for more clarification on evolution. Now, you said Darwin laid the foundation for evolutionary theory. In the same module, you said the idea of evolution was not originated by Darwin. So I want more clarification on that. What's the difference between laying foundation and originating from? So I just want a clarification on that.
Okay, when we were discussing Darwin just now, there were some philosophers, there were some we call biologists, astrologists or something, that we said they were precursors of Darwin. So what is being said in your course material is that the theory of evolution itself is not something that Darwin got out of the blues. There were traces of ideas regarding that before he came. So when he came into the scene, he systematized it. Okay, you won't get this idea in many texts. People will just say, most texts would simply say that Darwin is the originator of the theory of evolution. It is only in this your course material that is telling us that what he does is a systematization of some of the ideas on evolution that had come before him. I don't know if that explains what you're trying to ask.
Yeah,
so while it might seem contradictory, not necessarily, but it's trying to make a slight point, some slight distinction between the originator and what's the other word?
Founder.
And the founder. But the basic idea you should know is that whether evolution came from Darwin or not, Darwin popularized it. The theory of evolution is synonymous to Darwin. When you talk about theory of evolution, anywhere, it is just Charles Darwin that will come to mind. So that is one incontrovertible fact. But what your course material is trying to tell us is trying to give us more details, because it's history and philosophy of science, that there were people before Darwin who had been working on this theory, who had said one or two things about it. But if you like, it is Darwin that his own, I want to say it colloquially, is like, may God bless our efforts. Some people have been doing something, setting the pace, and somebody just came to the scene and took all the glory, so to speak, if we can put it colloquially like that. So he just came to the scene, built on what others have done, and kind of blow it up. That's the kind of slight distinction your course material is trying to make. Does that answer you?
Okay, ma'am.
All right, thanks. Okay. Please go ahead. So I'll call Julius Veronica. Unmute yourself. Veronica Julius, is she in class?
Okay. Yes, I'm here. Good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon, everyone.
We can hear you. Go on, don't beat everyone.
Okay. I've been finding it difficult to enter into the class. Meanwhile, I've not been able to download my course material. Also, I've been unable to collect it from my study center. So I'm actually jotting down, whatever you teach us in the class to read. And meanwhile, I didn't find it easy to enter into the class. I entered about after like 30 minutes. So I want to ask if there is anyone in the class that can help me out in order to get the past teachings, so that I'll be able to jot down. So that's my question.
Do you belong to the WhatsApp group of this class?
Yes, ma'am.
You are on the WhatsApp group?
Yes, ma. Yes, ma.
One of the admins, please post the cost. I know I sent the cost materials there sometimes last week. One of the admins kindly post or kindly resend the cost material so that you can download. But to
All right,
download
thank you,
any
ma.
cost material, this is for everybody. If you go to non-courseware, it's there. If you type it on Google, you are likely to get it. All right. So that shouldn't be a problem. This material is available everywhere. Finding it difficult to join the class, it could be a function of how strong your network was at the time. All right. You can see we had up to 597 at some point. So that is it. You might want to get maybe a function of your device as well, a function of your network and the likes. All right. I hope I'm being able to solve your problem.
Yes, madam.
Okay.
Thank you, ma.
All right.
All right.
Please mute yourself. I will call Agada David Samson. David Samson Agada. Is he here?
Yes, ma. A very good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, ma. Okay, ma. I just want to verify the portal where you say you can get the videos of each lectures. So I just want to know where you post them, ma.
Okay.
So that some of our colleagues or some fellow candidates that are at work, sometimes they usually ask us in the WhatsApp group to help them with the link or video link.
Okay. E-Learn Portal. There is a portion there that has a facilitation video. The links are posted there. The one for last week was posted. Even on the WhatsApp group, I know I posted it last week. This one, when we're done, we will post it. So a good place to look at is your e-learn platform. Look for facilitation recordings. Then you will find it there. Is that okay?
Okay, ma. Yeah, thank you very much, ma.
All right. If you're on the WhatsApp group as well, look out for it.
I would like to join your WhatsApp group, ma.
It's not mine. I mean, it's open for everyone.
There are some
Somebody
other WhatsApp
please.
group where we're in already or we join, but sometimes we don't get proper updates.
This is we have a GST 105 WhatsApp group. Any of the admins, please post it on.
Yes, ma'am.
Post it in the chat. Please look out for it. I'm sure somebody will be able to post it. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
That's fine.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Lower yourself and mute yourself. Lower your hand and mute yourself. So we'll call a lady. We don't do partial here. I'll call Adebimpe Anu Oluwapo. Oh yeah. Unmute yourself and speak. Adebimpe Anu Oluwapo, are you here? Is she here? Okay.
Hello, good afternoon.
Please speak up. Your audio is too low.
Good afternoon, ma.
Speak up, speak up.
Good afternoon, ma.
All right, good afternoon.
Yes, ma. Please, I would like you to please recap the Anaximander history, ma.
What about them?
Yes, ma. Anaximander.
What about them?
You know, you said they are pre. They say Anaximander and Anaximander that they are pre. This is so I don't really understand.
They are called pre-Socratic philosophers. They come before Socrates. And they are also regarded as precursors of science because of various postulations they made. Thales talked about water being what the universe is made of. He was also credited to have forecast the eclipse that took place in 585 BC. That's Thales. Anaximander, he said is credited to have originated the critical tradition in philosophy by disagreeing with his predecessor, Thales, and saying it is not water, it's rather something called stuff, a pairon. In some translation, they call it a pairon. But your course material try to put it in English form. That's why you have stuff or something like that. While
fire.
While Anaximenes talks about air. Okay, air. I didn't bring it. Is Anaximenes in your course material? There are three: Thales, Anaximander and Anaximenes. Anaximenes talks about air, that it is air that is that thing that is the stuff that the universe is made of. So all three of them, they are referred to as pre-Socratic philosophers. That is, they come before the era of Socrates. All right?
All right.
Okay, thank you. Mute yourself. So I'll call Nathan Oko. Unmute yourself, Nathan Oko.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Please speak up.
Yes, ma'am. Please, I want you to shed more light on natural laws.
Okay. Natural laws are so called because of uniformity that have been observed over time in nature. So they are universally acclaimed, they are universally valid, and because they are universally accepted and based on certain uniformities found in them, that's why they become natural law.
The uniformity found in them, like what?
Speak up. I can barely hear you.
The uniformity found in them, the examples are like what? The uniformity, you said natural laws are based on universal and valid universal and listen, but you said that the uniformity found in them are like what? Like the examples.
Natural laws are, let me project it. Can you see?
Yes.
They are derived from natural properties of objects and phenomena. Beyond that, we have certain consistencies which exist from natural phenomena.
Yes.
Okay?
Okay.
That's laws of nature, also called natural law. These are the two defining factors. The reason they call them so is because they are derived from natural properties of objects and phenomena. You would also see certain consistency or uniformities or regularities which exist among them. So laws of nature, the different ideas, it has to do with three ideas. These are each of them, as explained earlier. Those uniformities found in nature, established connection, and the third, established theories in scientific research. I'm sure if you go through your course material, you would understand even more. Okay? All right, please mute yourself. Our time is fast spent. I'm just going to give you 10 extra minutes for this interaction. We can't take all the hands. You can see there are so many hands. Practically everybody is raising up hands. We can't take them all, okay? So I'll call Mercy Akinjoye. Unmute yourself. Akinjoye, Mercy.
Yes, ma. Good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon.
Please, ma, in the law of the theory of gravitation, you mentioned that it is a force, and you were trying to explain the second one, that it also makes a body. Can you help me with the second one? I didn't get it, ma.
That it is also that which enables a body to flow freely from space to earth. And that's the point in which I threw up a biro to demonstrate it. It is through the law of gravity that the body, it's the force through which, it's the way through which it enables the free fall of a body Body being used now not in the sense of our body, but objects, ideas to fall from space to the earth. That's what it means. That's what we're trying to say.
Thank you so much, ma. Thank you.
Mute yourself and lower your hands. So by 4:10, I will end this class so that we can all go. Kolade Joseph. Kolade Joseph.
Good afternoon, ma.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yes, ma. Please, I want to ask concerning the law of causation and law of natural selection. I don't know if you can give us a brief meaning of them, because I didn't explain it on it.
It's for you to read it up in your text. It's deliberate. I brought 4 laws, gravitation and the other one, and explain those 2. Those last 2, read it up in your course material.
Okay, they didn't explain it in the course material, that's why.
Are you sure? It must be there. No, it's there. It's because you've not looked at it, it's there. All right?
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Please lower your hand and mute yourself. So I'll call Alao Zainab. Unmute yourself. Zainab and Alao.
Good afternoon, ma.
Yeah.
Ma, I don't understand the law of the uniformity of nature. I don't understand it very well.
We just explained it.
Ma?
It's from, as the name implies, uniformity. From those resemblances, consistencies, regularities that we can observe in nature, we're able to make certain conclusive remarks that eventually leads to formulation of laws. So all of these laws emanate from natural law, which somebody just asked and we explained. The law of uniformity of nature pertains to those regularities or relation or connection found in natural properties or phenomena. That's what it means.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Mute yourself, please. Thank you. Lower your hand. We take Ejembi Uche. Is he a man or woman? Uche, Ejembi Oche. Okay.
Good afternoon, ma.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
My question is this, and like the pre-Socrates, like Anaximander, he say the origin of the science is from word stuff. The word stuff there, like what does that word for, like what are involved when he say the word stuff? And again, to the question of Julius Veronica on how to get the material, if she can hear me.
Thank you.
If you type maybe the course code on Google, normal, maybe just 105 PDF, you can actually get it direct from Google here.
Okay. Thank you. Your first question, you said the word stuff. What is the word stuff, right?
Yes, ma'am. What are involved?
You see, in another text, it is referred to as a pairon and talks about the elements in the world, elements like fire, air, heat, and 4 elements, 4 of them. Okay, so it is the way your cosmetic. So this information, it's just for your consumption. You know, if you encounter something like this in TMA, it may not come as a pairon that I just said. Let me type it. Okay, in some other translation, it's called a pairon. Like when we did it in ancient philosophy, ancient philosophy class, a pairon. We normally say a pairon, something like that. A pairon, if I remember correctly, it also pertains to the 4 elements in the world: air, water, fire, heat. And the argument of Anaximander is that the world consists of all these things. And so he has gone beyond Thales mentioning just water, but he observed further what obtains in the world, which, if you look at it, is not wrong, because water is there. Air is also very important, of which Anaximenes, coming after him, said what the world is made of is air. I don't know if you get my explanation. So what I would like you to take note of is that in your course material, it is explained as some kind of stuff. I want to get the actual name now. Is explained as stuff, some stuff or something like that. Infinite something, word stuff. That's the way the writer explains it, okay? So take note of it as it is like that, because that's probably what is going to be used for you.
Thank you, ma.
Is that okay?
Yes, ma. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Okay. Mute yourself, lower your hand. Oh, it's 4:10 already, so I'll call the last but not the least person. Florence Uka Monye. Unmute yourself. Apologies if I'm unable to call you. I'm apparently not able to call every hand. If I count how many hands that we have here, won't leave here today. All right? So it's not possible. So Florence, you have the floor.
Okay. Hello, ma.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay. Sorry, please. I did not join on time. Okay. And I still want to know if this is the platform I'm supposed to be. I'm in mass communication. That is what I'm studying. I want to know
what are
if
you?
this is 100 level, ma.
Mass communication students take this course, right? Can somebody say it in the... Wait. I'm asking me. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Do mass communication students take this course? Just say yes in the chat room. Okay. I don't know. Let me see. Yeah, I think so. Yes, there are many people saying yes. So you are in the right class. So how did you get the link if you're not sure whether you should take it?
You know, I'm in so many platforms. Open University, they have about 7 or 8. So anyone I see, I will join for me to get lectures. You understand?
Let me give you a way to go about it.
Okay, ma. Okay.
Check your e-learn.
Okay.
Check your e-learn. Check your email. And this applies to everybody who is not clear about how to go about attending classes.
Okay.
Make checking of e-learn your constant companion. Your email as well, your Moodle. Because all the courses I am taking beyond GST 105, I send notices to students on all these 3 every week.
Okay.
So what you could do as a student is note it. Now you know GST 105, it holds 3 to 4 on Fridays. Every Friday you will be sure it holds. So as you get for each course, note it and note the Zoom link, and that's it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, ma.
So just create a timetable by yourself and follow it. You know when.
Okay.
All right.
So, thank you so much.
Thank you too. So what else are we doing? Lower your hands. It's 4:15. We can't take everybody. There are so many hands. We cannot take it. All right. So I apologize. The class supposed to end at 4. It's 4:13. I have to end the class. I have to end the class. So before I end it, let me paste the link to the WhatsApp platform by myself so that you can see it. So give me a few seconds. Let me get the link. Then let me get the link. Then I'll post it to you. So for those who have not joined, you can join if you want. Copy link. Okay, link is copied. I come and paste it to everybody. Now you're waiting for approval. Everybody is in class. So when the class ends, they will. That's the link to the WhatsApp platform. That's the link. So I'm going to unmute everybody now so that you can talk to each other, say bye-bye, good night, have a nice week. You understand? You can make noise. It's because some people love to make noise. That's why we need to mute everybody. You can make noise and you can go. So I'll see you next week. Just as I said, we'll have makeup classes. If you're not able to make it, don't fret. The recordings will be pasted for you, but if you're able to make it, when I announce the time, you would be aware of it. All right? Okay. Let me... Okay. So you can unmute yourself now, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you, ma.
Thank you,
Guys.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it, ma.
Thank you, ma.
Thank you.
Thank
you,
you,
ma.
Don't see
Thank you so
any
much,
link.
ma.
Appreciate you.
No noise.
Today I enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed the class, ma.
Ahead of class so that you can ask good questions. You can also
Thank you, ma.
Colleagues, what is the meaning of
Thank you,
thank
ma.
you?
Stop making noise. Stop making noise.
It's such a nice
Thank you, ma.
thing.
Can you thank
Please, I would love to know if I